To get iron, you will need to find a crypt in a swamp biome after defeating the Elder Boss in order to get one of these things, which is a swamp key. The swamp key will unlock this gate right here, which will be shut when you find the crypt, and if you don't have the key, you can't do that. If you want to see guides on how to explore swamps and get a base set up here safely, and also how to beat the Elder Boss, there will be links to videos showing you all of that in the pinned comments. Now, if you are exploring one of these swamp biomes before you have one of these keys, be sure to go onto your map and mark crypt locations like I've done here, so that you can come back to them later with ease, find them, and get yourself that lovely iron. So let's talk about a few things you'll want to take with you before you head to get your iron. Now, the kind of obvious ones are the best food, right? Give yourself as many hit points and stamina as possible. There will be mobs inside the crypts, so you'll have draggers and blobs, things like that to fight. So you definitely want to have good food to give you those hit points. You also might want to consider taking with you a bit of poison resistance mead. I mean, this is completely up to you. You could also even take things like stamina and healing meads and stuff like that as well. Just depends on your comfortability with the fighting in the game. And a couple other things, I highly recommend you take a decent shield, because parrying the draggers is going to be very useful, as you will see later on in this episode. Also, the mace is a good thing to take to hit against the draggers. It does a good attack against them. Again, I will show you this later, but do make sure to take a ranged weapon, because this is going to be quite useful. So you're going to see all this combat stuff later and it will all make sense, but this is what I would highly recommend. Take at least one bow, maybe two, depending on how long you plan to be there. Another thing to obviously take is you're going to need a pickaxe in order to mine out the iron. Now, an antler pickaxe is good enough to do the job, but if you want to take a bronze one throughout that stage, obviously that is going to be better, but it's not necessary. You can just take an antler, and then of course whatever armor you like to use. Now, this option right here this is an optional thing here, the Diverger Circlet. I'm going to show you this in action, but it basically works as a miner's headlamp. Now, in order to get this, you will need to visit a vendor. Vendors can be seen on the map by this icon that you're seeing right up here, like this kind of like little goodie bag thing. So if you found a vendor, you can go there and buy one of those. So here we are at the vendor, and if we talk to him right here, you'll see that for the Diverger Circlet, you are looking at 620 gold. Now, I'm going to do a video on the vendor in more detail in the future, but just to say, you can take your coins obviously to buy things, and you can also sell things. If I had on me right now things like rubies and amber and that sort of thing, I could sell those and get some money out of those as well. But that's how you get the Diverger Circlet if you do want it. Now, the other thing to say is, in order to get the iron back to your base, iron cannot be teleported, so you will need to take a boat. What you may want to do though is set up a bit of a portal nearby. So what I did is, if we go to my swamp right here, when I was exploring this crypt right here on my map, what I had is a little base here where I had a protected portal. Now, in the video pinned comments, you will see a swamp guide on how you can set up one of these little bases for yourself if you wish. But essentially, we're going to need to sail over to there with a boat. So we've got a boat here to get our iron out of the crypt, into the boat, and then back to our home base so that we can use it, smelt it down, and all of that good stuff. So obviously, if you do want to make up the portals, make sure you take the materials with you to make the portals and the safe area around them. The final thing to consider is you might want to sleep as soon as possible before you go. Now, because we've got a bit of a trek, what I'll probably do is have a sleep, then I'll need to get in my boat, which is going to be here. I will sail it across here like this and down to my swamp area and get it close to this crypt here. In fact, we're going to be exploring this crypt here, so I'm going to make a new base and I'll show you guys that. Ready to like sail it back. Then what I'll do is get in my portal, come back and sleep again. The reason being is just traveling through the swamp at night is more dangerous, so it just makes sense to have it as daytime. Now, a lot of you will know this, but I just want to make sure I include that tip in case you didn't think of it, or there might be some new people to this game. So we're going to go ahead now, get on over there and get ourselves set up. So what I suggest is you set yourself up a little bit of an area like this. Now, you can see here, this isn't too far from the crypt. We could have got a little bit closer, but I had this as my swamp base anyway, so I'm going to use this. You might better make yours a little bit closer, but I'm in a reasonably safe area here outside the swamp. Again, if you want to see a bit more information on this type of like setup and that sort of thing, there'll be links in the pinned comment to all of that stuff. Now, the benefit of doing this, we are still going to need a boat moored up here, right, in order to ship all of our iron back. But by having this, what we can do is, if we need to escape, we can bring all of our stuff over here. We can keep it safely in a chest nearby, like all of our iron and that sort of thing. We can even go home and sleep or repair our items and that sort of thing. So I just wanted to briefly mention this in case you want to get a similar setup when you are doing your iron mining. Okay, so at your crypt, you want to go ahead and open the door. I've already opened my one right here, and then you want to make sure you've eaten your food and get yourself geared up and ready to go. So you've got your mace ready and also your shield, and then you can just simply walk in like this. Now, as soon as you come in, there could be mobs, so do be careful. I highly recommend you just have your block ready right here and just take a second to have a little look around. And let's see, we can hear some things splashing. Okay, through here there could be something. Yeah, there is. There's a dragger. So here we go. See, we want to block him there to parry him and do a bit of the extra damage. What we're also going to need to do is destroy, oh my goodness, this blob for one. Okay, so if you get into a bit of trouble like that, you can always come back up here to fight these things and protect yourself a little bit. Right now, I'm fighting these guys, but also I can walk back out at any second to get myself safe. So the Dragger there is not too interested in me for a second, it will seem. You're going to come at me? Looks like he's just running around like a bit of an idiot. I don't think he can get me when I'm up on this ledge. But we are losing a little bit of health here, so we do need to be careful. So at this point, I'm going to pop back outside and just like recover a little bit. Make sure there's nothing out here about to kill me either. So these things can be dangerous the second you get in the door, as you saw right there. Now, one of the things that I didn't get a chance to show you that I'm going to show you in a second is that there was a spawner there for the Draggers and things on the right-hand side. So you do want to look to take those spawners out pretty quickly, as they can be quite dangerous. Okay, so we're in here again. We've got this Dragger here about to attack us. We want to kill him. And there we go. We want to hit this body pile, right? And keep hitting it. So there we go. You see there we destroyed the body pile? It's the body pile that was the spawner, right? That was what was causing all the Draggers to spawn. So now we should be reasonably safe in this area. Now, as I mentioned before, these things are kind of dark. So we had a couple of options, right? One was the Diverger Circlet. So if we put that on, here we go. Here's our little miner's helmet. It certainly shows us what we're looking at a lot better than we had before. So you might want to use that. Of course, it does mean you're losing out on having an actual helmet on. So it just depends. The other option, of course, would be to use a torch to have a little look around. So you can have a torch and still have your shield ready and then switch to a weapon if you need. And that's why these are some optional things that you might want to bring with you. Okay, so now I want to talk about these things. Muddy scrap piles. This is how you're going to get your iron. All you need to do is look at them and start mining away at them. And eventually they will break. And when they do, you have a chance of getting iron scraps. Again, you can do this with just an antler pickaxe. I'm just using bronze because I have one and it's going to be a little bit quicker and better and that sort of thing. But the antler will still mine this through and you can still get the iron scraps from this. As you see right here, it is a chance drop. I'm breaking quite a few muddy scrap piles here and not getting any iron scraps. Be prepared for a bit of a grind here, guys, as the drop rate is not super high when mining these muddy scrap piles. Although I have to say I'm getting a little bit unlucky right now. It's just the curse of making a video. Okay, there we go. Added scrap iron. So this is what you'll get, guys. This scrap iron right here. This is what you'll smelt down later. And again, I will show you how to do that. And one scrap iron will give you one iron ingot or iron bar or whatever. Now, the other thing you'll find in here are chests, so you definitely want to open those. And as you can see, this is where you can get quite a lot of scrap iron all in one go. So that is very useful. Now, already you'll see here, my inventory is almost full. We're at 299 out of 300, which is why you definitely want to have a base nearby where you can go and dump things. Now, there's a couple of options for this. One, you could set up a base nearby like I did. The other option would be you could set up like a chest in the entrance here, or even just chuck stuff on the floor of the entrance here and come back for it later. So there's a few options for you in terms of like storing your materials, but it's definitely something you're going to need to think about. So some other items that you can get around here as well. You'll see there's these withered bones, for example. You'll also find, there we go, coins around here. I've found rubies and emeralds and things. You'll always see these yellow mushrooms as well. And obviously all that stuff can also be found in the chests around here too. Incidentally, the withered bones are used in order to summon the bone mass boss. You will need 10 of the withered bones in order to do that. So as you're exploring through these things, you'll see a lot of these types of muddy scrap piles where they're clearly blocking an entrance. Now, when you're mining through these, it's a good idea to try to mine up the top if you can, and just make a little bit of a gap. So we're going to just mine through here like this, try and jump up and just make a little bit of a gap, because as you may have seen there, I think there was a dragger or something through there. So what we want to do is give ourselves a bit of a free shot of this dude. Yep, there he is. So we might be able to mine just like one extra little bit here without him being able to get through. Okay, there we go. So now he's kind of stuck there. At this point, we can use our bow and we can just shoot away at him and get him dead, or at least to really low health before we go through. There we go. Now, incidentally, if you are holding down your bow like that to save the arrow, if you don't want to shoot, simply right-click and you'll put it away. The dragger's coming back, and if we do this enough, we will be able to potentially kill him, or at least get him down to like a one hit before we go through. Now again, I can see there's a couple of draggers through there. There might be a spawner, so we'll keep an eye out for that, and if there is, we want to destroy the body pile pretty quickly, because obviously the body pile is what's spawning those draggers. So one little tip here, guys, you'll see there's a couple of draggers in there on very low health right now because I've got them down. This means that no more are going to be spawning, so what we can do is use that to our advantage by breaking down the rest of these muddy scrap piles, going through there, and then trying to get rid of the spawner before any new ones spawn. This guy's shooting at me because I'm still in the wrong bit, but you guys get what I'm saying. So what we're going to do is have this equipped and have this equipped. So we're going to have to like take this down and then get ourselves ready here. So it's a little bit tricky, but we can just mine from like through here potentially, so that that one can't get us. Okay, so we got 3 and 5. Okay, is he able to get us? Not quite. They can't get through yet, so we're just going to keep doing this until, like, basically when they can get through, you can get through, right? but of course, that means they can get through, so you do need to be careful. I'm going to get back a little bit here. And do another mine, and then we can get out of the way. Okay, 3 and 5. So now I think, can he get through? Okay, if not, I still think we can get through. So we're going to hit him. We're going to head through here. Get rid of those. Find that body pile and start smashing away at that. And there we go. So we got rid of the body pile. No, we didn't. We were about to, though. Okay, we want to get rid of that first. Okay. At this point, we can run away. Now, these are thin corridors, so they are getting a bit stuck there. But what we did there is we got rid of the body pile. So we can come back here now and just replenish our health a little bit and fight these guys at the rate in which we choose. But now all we have to do is get rid of these two. And at that point, the body pile's gone, so no more will be through there. And again, we can simply use our bow here to shoot them. And they're not able to get through there. So if you can do it like I've done here, this is the perfect scenario, right? You've just mined through one side. The draggers can't get through. And you shouldn't die now at this point because you're able to fight them at your own will. You can simply hide, come out when you want, and then take pot shots at them. So the other good thing if you're meleeing a dragger is to try to parry it. So what you want to do is block like I did there just before it hits you. When you do that, it will be stunned and also your attack will go up. You'll block more of the damage and it will be much easier to kill it. So getting good at parrying is something you might want to practice on some of the little grey dwarfs and things like that around like a black forest biome, perhaps near where you live. But yeah, parrying is super useful. So now we're through to this next little chamber bit again because the body pile is gone. We are now safe at this point. And again, you're going to see loads of stuff here. So we've got a chest here we can take a load of stuff from. I think there's a ruby just up here. Was that? Yep, there we go. Ruby right there. And you do want to have a good look around because there's always stuff. There we go, amber pearls and things right here. And we can find all of that good stuff. And once again, we have some muddy scrap piles here and through here. This one looks like it's leading to a dead end. So we've come to the end of this bit. But these are big chambers, guys. Like we've got this bit here. We did this bit that we just explored through here as well. I'm actually putting all my stuff in here at the moment as well, like anything I might want to take back with me. So we're going to keep all it safe here as it is quite near to our entrance. So that's another option. But then we can mine like through here and through here. So you can get a lot of iron out of these things, but they are a little bit dangerous and it is going to be a little bit of a grind. Another little thing with the muddy scraps, guys, you see here in the water, there's these muddy scrap piles. You want to be looking on the water. There we go, some more under there as well. There's a lot that will be hidden underwater here in just random places. So to make sure you get the most iron you can possibly get out of each of these little chamber things, do make sure that you're looking on the floor and keeping an eye on where all those muddy scrap piles might be hidden by water. So as I mentioned before, you will need to take a boat over to the swamp with you in order to get all of the iron scraps that you find back into your base area. So you're probably going to have this boat to start off with. Well, you will have this boat to start off with because you need iron to get the longboat, but it's pretty sexy. This looks pretty cool. And once you've done one trip and you've got enough iron to make the longboat, this is the amount of storage you can put in here for future trips, which is super useful. I wanted to mention this because when you start out with the Carve, or Carvey as someone said it is pronounced, this is the amount of storage space you have. So there's a huge difference. Also, obviously, the difference being in terms of like the space on the actual like big long ship and the durability of it if you do get attacked by sea monsters and stuff like that. Now, another thought as well, I have seen some people talking about you can even get a cart onto the long ship. Now, I haven't attempted that myself yet, but I thought I would mention it as people have said it is possible. I think like early game when you're just looking to get iron, if you were to have this much storage for iron, it probably could be pretty good. But hey, I just thought I'd mention that because why not? So then what you want to do is make sure your smelter is loaded up with coal and then go ahead and get your iron scraps, and you can obviously put 10 scrap iron into the smelter at one time. And the best thing to do right now is to go and sleep, because when you sleep, the smelter will work overnight for you, and then basically when you wake up, you'll instantly have 10 iron, and then you can start the process again. So I'm going to have to stoke my fire, then I'm going to have a snooze and show you that. So here we are first thing in the morning, and as you can see right here, we've got a load of iron waiting for us just outside of our smelter. So fantastic. We can go and... oh, 9? Oh, okay, I guess I needed to put more coal in here. We ran out of coal, but you guys get the point. It's still better to do it overnight and just get that stuff instantly. So there we go, we can go ahead and chuck that in there. That is basically how you're going to smelt up your iron. Now, once you have it, you can use it for a variety of things, of course. But one of the things I recommend that you look at making up reasonably early on is we go into crafting. You'll see you'll have into crafting, excuse me. You'll have a new recipe here, well, several new recipes, but in particular, the stone cutter is going to be very useful and unlock lots of new recipes for you. You can, of course, use the stone cutter to, as it would suggest, cut stone and start using that in your build recipes and things like that. You'll also now be able to make iron armor and tons of other iron things. Now, I'm sure you guys know this, so I don't want to talk too much about that in the episode, but just thought I'd mention it as it is sort of pertinent to what we're talking about. So just to say, if you do need help with the smelting process or anything else you've seen in this video, do check out the pinned comment where I put all the useful video links for tutorials on things we've looked at today. Also, feel free to ask me anything in the comments or just search for my channel where there are a lot of Valheim tutorials that will get you to this point as I'm doing these tutorials sort of in the order that you would play the game through. So I hope this video today helped, guys. If it did, and if you liked it, please do consider liking and subscribing for more Valheim content. But for now, I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Although I do sometimes stream Valheim on YouTube, I'm also going to be streaming it a lot over on Twitch. So if you guys are interested in joining the streams and just having a bit of fun there, please do check out my Twitch. There is a link down in the video description.